Good evening, everyone. We are here with our mentoring session 1.27, with our mentor, Asma Naeem, and she's the founder of BrainTox. Today's topic that she's going to address is emotional abuse. In this webinar, we will be looking towards emotional abuse, which involves in non-physical behavior, how it relates and how much it affects. The criteria used to help us and the circle would be guided by our mentor, Asma Naeem. So everybody, Asma Naeem is there for you. Thank you, Asma, for your time and dedication.
Thank you so much, Mahin, for inviting me. And today's topic is really very sensitive and very important. And as we were talking before, that so many people, they want to know about it, they want to talk about it. So first of all, welcome to all the participants. And it's really, it's a pleasure that you guys have taken out time and joining this webinar. And I'm sure you're spreading the word and inviting other people as well, because the whole purpose of having these webinars is to help people to create more awareness in regards to mental health. And I'm really glad that today we are talking about this issue, because this is something I want to gender-wise it, but mostly the women, they are facing emotional abuse. And this is really important we talk about it. And I will really welcome all of you if you want to share any of your experiences, concerns, or you have any questions or anything you would like to share, because we are here to support each other and help each other. So I will be really glad if you guys share your own experiences or any kind of concerns you have, you want to talk about it, or just something you want to share with other participants. So before I start, I would like to ask any one of you would like to share what brings you to this webinar? Anyone? I'm sure you guys are here, there must be some reason, right? Maybe you're interested in the topic, or you have experienced it, or you have observed it, or you really want to know more about it. So anyone would like to share that what brings you to this webinar? No one?
Ma'am, may I share?
Yes, please.
I attend this session because we have faced these type of issues in our community, especially women are faced this issue. That's why I attend this session.
Okay, so what kind of issues they're facing, if you just would like to elaborate on that? Like you said, in your community, women are they facing that. So we are talking about emotional abuse.
Yes, ma'am. Some women face this type of issues, like the family members abuse emotionally, that maybe harassment or other members.
Okay, all right, got it. Yes, you're right, because there are various kind of abuses, and most of the time we talk about physical abuse, physical violence, because we can see the scars on the body, but we don't talk about emotional abuse, or it's a verbal abuse, or the psychological abuse, because most of us at some point of in our life, maybe not, but most of us, we have experienced some kind of emotional abuse. So let's understand first that what exactly emotional abuse is. So it's a verbal abuse. It's a psychological abuse which an abuser uses on his or her recipient. And what is the intention of abuser? Because when we talk about emotional abuse, so what we are representing here is like one person is an abuser, another one is a recipient, or you call it a victim. So what is the intention of abuser? What usually they do? They try to control another person using emotions, words, to either make you feel guilty, make you feel bad, or they try to threaten you. They try to be, the whole purpose is to control you through emotions. And understand that such abusers, they are not stronger than the recipient or than you. Basically, such people, those who emotionally abuse others, they have their own insecurities in their life. They feel very powerless. And this is the reason they always try to control other people through various tactics. So here we are talking about emotions. Even the physical abuse happen because they want to take control over that person. And such people, they themselves think they are powerless. They themselves think that they don't have enough power. They feel insecure, they feel powerless. And what they do, they will always find such people, those who themselves don't value themselves, or those who are as it is, they are running in a very low self-esteem. So they are always easy target for them, because then they can overpower them. So basically, what is emotional abuse is more of like you are controlling someone through shame, through guilt, through blaming them, or by name calling. The whole purpose or intention of the abuser is to take control of another person. So this abuse doesn't come only from your partner. It could be from your parents. In your childhood, you might have an abusive parents. It could be mother, it could be father, and there are several such cases, and it destroys the child personality. And we will go into that later. It could be from your partner. It could be from your co-workers, from the schoolmates. So emotional abuse is not generally happen with your partner, but this can come from anyone. It can be your friends also. It could be someone in your school, your college. It could be your colleagues. So in the various forms, we do receive emotional abuse and from different relationships. It can be a personal relationship. It can be a professional relationship. It can be from any relationship. So it's not specifically between a male and a female partnership, because generally we think or we see is like between husband and wife. But it comes from various, various sources. Even there are, like we said, there's several cases where children, they have faced this abuse from their parents. And there are different type of abuses we face. For example, now I'm just explaining that what kind of emotional abuses anyone can face. And when I'm explaining this, so understand the purpose why I want to explain is, let's recognize these things, because most of the time, people don't even recognize that they are suffering through emotional abuse. They don't even know that what is happening to them or why people are treating them in certain way. So here I'm just explaining the patterns of the abusers, how they can abuse you. So recognize these patterns and just also think whether you have also experienced that, because sometimes we don't know what's happening to us, why we are feeling in a certain way, and why a person is really hurting us through various tactics. We are not sometimes under that awareness that it's an abuse. So I'm explaining these types of emotional abuses, and it's like a very generic one where you can also recognize these are the patterns of an abuser. So maybe you have also experienced it, or maybe you have observed something, it's happening with someone. By the way, there is a research that 50% of people, they have experienced emotional abuse in some or the other way. So one of the kind is dismissing your feelings. Sometimes it happens like you're explaining something, whether it's your friend, your partner, your parents, you're telling them something, and they immediately say, no, you're not right. You're just getting too sensitive. They just dismiss your feelings. They are not ready to understand what exactly you're feeling. Maybe they will just manipulating you. They tell you, no, you're crazy. Why are you thinking like that? It's not like that. And what happened? You even don't know how to express your feeling. They just simply dismiss your feeling. And sometimes they manipulate you in a way that they will tell you, you shouldn't be feeling in this way, honey. You should be feeling in this way. And then you also get confused what is right and wrong. And it's just like confusing you, dismissing, rejecting your feelings, and not acknowledging it. And sometimes we also don't know, and we start doubting ourselves that, am I really getting too emotional? Things are not that bad, or he called my name, it's okay, there's nothing to feel bad. Or am I really crazy to think in that way, or I'm exaggerating the situation? They will convince you to the point that you are wrong, that you will suspect your own judgment. So this is also a form of emotional abuse, because they are not acknowledging your emotions, especially in childhood. Sometimes parents doesn't allow the kids to express their anger or sadness, and they always dictate them to behave or feel in a certain way. So this is also a kind of emotional abuse. And another one is creating a chaos. Remember, those are abusers, and they will create unnecessary arguments with you. For the sake of an argument, they will argue with you just to prove that you are wrong. In many ways, they will try to create a situation where you'll be in a very chaotic situation, maybe at home, at office if you're working, or maybe at your school and college where you are studying. Your friends can do this. They will unnecessarily create a situation for you. And you feel so emotionally drowned in that, and you don't know even what's happening. Because their intention is just to create a chaos. Remember what I said, what the whole intention of abuser is to take control of you. And they will use your fears or values to control you. So what I mean by that, for example, I'll take an example of like husband and wife, they have kids. So if the husband is an abuser in this situation, and they know that it's for a mother, her weakness is kids. So he will use that fear. He will try to tell a mother that if you will not behave in a certain way, or if you will not follow what I am telling you to do, so maybe I will take away kids from you. I will not allow you to meet them, or I will harm them, or I will do anything with them. So as a mother, you are so feared. What if this person will do anything wrong to my kids? So we start behaving in the way they want us to behave, because their purpose is for you is to behave or feel or think the way they want you to do it. So they will play on that, what you are feared of, or if something is really valuable to you, or it's your values, you can't go against that. They will use that as a tool to force you to think and behave the way they want, because the whole purpose of them is to take control of you. Another way is gaslighting. Gaslighting is basically, it's a manipulative thing where abuser can convince you or manipulate your perception that what you have seen or heard is not correct. For example, I'm telling my partner, you abused me in that gathering. You call my name, and he say, no, I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. Who told you? You're misunderstanding the whole thing. What I said was this. And with so convincingly, he will tell me this thing that I will start doubting my own judgment, or I will start doubting my own perception, how I perceive the whole event. So gaslighting is basically manipulating with your mind. They will convince you in a way that you will start doubting your own judgment. You will start doubting what you have seen or what you have heard. And this is often happen. And it happens in like many kind of relationships. Is it professional and personally? They gaslight you, they will direct you in a way which was not right and which was not real. They will play with your perception of reality. Same as they can make you feel guilty or ashamed of something. Because the whole purpose is that because of their own weaknesses or their own shortcomings, they will put the whole blame on you. Just because of you, this thing happened. If you wouldn't have behaved in that way, this wouldn't happen. They will make you feel guilty and ashamed of doing anything. Maybe which is not true, because they will never take responsibility of their actions and they will try to blame you. To try to put a blame on you, they will make you feel guilty. And there must be so many situations where people make us believe that because of me, something has gone wrong. And when I keep hearing that thing, eventually I start believing in that thing, that maybe he or she is right. Maybe because of me, this thing has happened. But I will not think maybe that person, it's their fault, it's their shortcoming. It's not my mistake, and they're just projecting it on me. So they can make you feel guilty or ashamed of something which you haven't done. And we flow with that, whatever they're convincing us. Another pattern is like, there are abusers, those who feel very jealous, and it also comes with possessiveness. They will isolate you in a way that they will stop you meeting with certain people, maybe with your friends, with your family. They won't allow you to meet to your friends and family. And they will put any reason to that. And they will try to isolate you because it's their behavior of controlling you. And most of the time it's a jealousy. They don't want to see you with your friends or family. And sometimes they do all these things because they don't want you to share your feelings or your experiences, what they're experiencing with that person, to anyone else. And they will make it sure that they will cut off you from other people. Maybe they won't allow you to socialize. Maybe they won't allow you to see your family, or they will put some, if you're financially dependent on them, they will put some financial constraints so that you cannot move out of that relationship, and they isolate you. And sometimes this isolation is forced from the abuser, and sometimes this is a self-isolation when, if I am being gaslighted or I'm being, you can say, if people make me feel guilty, ashamed, or they blame me for things, what happened? Eventually, I will start thinking that there is something wrong with me. People are right, but there is something seriously wrong with me. I don't know even how to handle these things, or I don't know how to even do that particular thing. And that's why I'm doing everything wrong. So what I will do when I will start believing in this thing, that there is something wrong with me, I will isolate myself. So sometimes we go to an isolation, which is another form of a depression as well. We feel so depressed because of that relationship or that environment where people make us feel, or abusers make us feel like that belittle us and tell us that we are nothing. They dismiss our feelings, they dismiss our opinion, they want us to think the way they think. So what happened? Eventually, we will isolate ourselves, and that is another form of a depression as well. Because we just worn out so much that we sell abilities, our own opinions, our own judgment. Even we don't know how to feel. To the accuser, that I'm really feeling in this way, or I'm feeling very bad about this situation. They tell me, no, there's nothing bad about it. what you're feeling is wrong because you're thinking in a wrong direction. This is not the way what you're thinking. And they try to manipulate the whole thing for me. And I start again second guessing my own feelings, whether I'm really being so too sensitive, or I'm crazy, why I'm thinking like that. Or they tell you, you are too emotional. That's why you're feeling like that. So it's like they invalidate you. So what happened, like everything is very interconnected. It's the different forms of emotional abuse I'm explaining here. So basically they're dismissing you, they're invalidating you, and what you feel exactly is like you are nothing. Because they dismiss your feelings, they dismiss your opinion. Even if you try to give your suggestion for something, they will say, no. What are you stupid? Are you crazy? How can you think like that? How many times do you hear that? You're stupid. You don't know how to handle the things. You don't know how to take the decisions. This has happened with kids as well. When they try to take some kind of a decision, or maybe it's a very small decision, but they try to take some kind of a decision, or they want to take some kind of action in their life to do something, and their parents tell them, no, you're a kid, you don't know anything, you can't do it. And you don't know, you can spoil the whole thing. There are several things we keep hearing, and what happened, this really affects our self-esteem and our self-confidence. Because we always then start second guessing our own feelings whenever we have to take decision. So why people are so indecisive? Because they don't know whether they're right or wrong, because this is what they have experienced, maybe from parents, maybe from teachers, maybe from friends, maybe from their partners. They keep telling them that you don't know how to do this, or you don't know how to take a decision, or your decisions are always wrong. Keep in your thinking, your feelings, and eventually you think that, fine, I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough. And you never become a leader, you become a follower, because then you always want to follow other people. You can't lead, because to lead, you need to have your own thinking, you need to have your own decisions, you need to have that confidence to believe in yourself. But when such people have sabotaged your self-confidence, self-esteem, and they have developed certain beliefs in you, then it will be very hard for you to even lead your own life. So everything is very interconnected. As basically, if we, in a nutshell, we can see there's an abuser who wants to take control of you, and they want everything to be in their own way. And if you are the victim or you are the recipient, you are the one who will start following that person, and you will start believing whatever this person is telling me, that is correct. I'm not good enough. And this is a core of a low self-confidence and low self-esteem, because this is what we have started believing. And even there are many cases where even friends, I'm not talking about particular partners, there are friends, they are so possessive. They want to control their friend, and they will keep telling their friend, you don't have to go to that person, make that person friend, because that person is maybe better than you, or you will feel in certain way. They will not take care of you, they will not value you, and they will keep you isolated with them, and they feel very possessive about you. So these are the patterns where you suffer emotional abuse. It's very important to recognize these patterns, because if you are surrounded with such people in form of friends or your colleagues, your partner, your parents, you need to understand where this whole thing is coming from. You need to recognize these patterns, understand if this is really happening with you. Maybe not all the things, but something is like in some kind, some form where you're facing this, where people keep telling you that you are not good enough in some way or the other. Is there any questions? Anything you want to understand more, or we can move forward? Okay. So how is this affecting us? This is what we are talking about. What mental effects is having on us? We will have self-doubt, low self-esteem. We will feel that we are powerless. We will feel I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. And we have anxiety, depression. And yes, over-compliance is like when I think that I'm not good enough, I'm not right, and my abuser is right. So what happened? I will just comply whatever they'll tell me. And sometimes to an extent that I want to make them happy. Sometimes those who are running a pattern of people pleasers, those who want to please everyone, sometimes they have also suffered emotional abuse because now they want their abusers to be happy in any way with them. They don't want them to make us feel belittled or that I'm not good enough. So they will always please those abusers and they will comply to whatever they tell them. If they tell them you have to feel in a certain way, they will try their level best to feel in that certain way. Behave in a certain way, they will try their level best to behave in a certain way. But this is like happening here. This is mentally affecting us because if we are constantly in that emotions where we are feeling that I'm not good enough, then what will happen? I will try to comply with the people, those I started believing that they are good enough. So I need to follow them. And when it's an extreme, it's traumatic, people, yes, they do get into substance use as well, because then they don't know how to handle emotions. Why people get into addictions? It happens when they really don't know how to process their emotions. Remember that emotional abuse has a very deep scars. It can be very traumatic. Sometimes kids that have faced their parents in childhood, maybe they're alcoholic, they're abusive, and whether there's a physical abuse, there's a verbal abuse, that has a very traumatic effect on their personalities. And they don't realize, but when they grow up, that affects in their behavior and their personality reflects. They have been traumatized. And sometimes we even don't know, and we don't know how to even process our emotions. And we find a different channels to do that. And getting into any kind of addiction is also a reason of that. Because we don't know, we don't want to face the world, we don't want to face the people. We just want to go in some different world where we don't have to face all these things. And we get into any kind of addictions. It could be alcohol, it could be smoking, excessive smoking, because we think that this is how maybe we are processing our emotions, but this is not the case. Physical effect, people like those who are suffering with this mental trauma or their emotional trauma, they don't know even how to process it. They have eating disorder, they have insomnia, heartburn. These are like some cases. There could be many more. There could be many more. These are some cases where people have it, where they don't know how to even handle these emotional abuses in their life. So it's just not a mental effect, but this is also a physical effect. So remember, from my understanding, from my perception, most of the physical issues happens due to your emotional issues. There must be some emotional issues which has pent up in your body, and now your body is responding to it in some form of a disease. And like I do hypnotherapy, and I know there are many cases that physical issues have been healed when their emotional issues are healed. So it's your body is a symptom of something. It's like it will give you a symptom if you are emotionally going through something. So there must be some emotional reason because of which your body is responding in some way. Eating disorders, you can't sleep because you have a lot of anxiety, you are stressed, you don't know how to process, you don't know what's going on with you. And there are many forms of anxiety. These heart palpitations, and you feel stressed, You don't, or maybe you isolate, like I said, you can isolate yourself, you can become an antisocial person, you don't want to meet anyone because you don't want to face anything, and you're hiding. So and when you are suppressing, because this is very unfortunate, like we don't realize the importance of our mental health. Just very recently, I got to know about someone. That person was going through some kind of trauma in her life, and she has seen some therapist, and it didn't work out. So she said, I don't want to see any more doctor, so any more therapist. So I don't want any kind of a treatment. I'm done, I'm out, and now I don't want to do anything about it. So understand this thing, that there is nothing wrong with a therapist or coach or with you if you're not recovering out of your trauma or any of your depressions. Sometimes it happens that things doesn't work out between two people. Same as like if you're seeing a doctor, and the doctor with the best intentions, he or she is giving you medicine and prescriptions and telling you to take rest, to do this, but still you're not recovering. So what you do? You stop everything. You don't want to take that physical treatment because you have some physical issue. What you will do? If something is not working with a doctor, you will go for another doctor, right? You will say, okay, let me try another doctor. Let me have a second opinion and let me see what else I can do. But you will take care of your physical pain. But if there is an emotional pain, we don't even consider that we need help. We think, how can I share my thing, my issues, my problems with anyone? And remember, if you will not do that, so keep suppressing and keeping in your body, that will burst out someday in some form. So please take care of your mental health. All the therapists, all the coaches, those who are out there, they're working with good intentions to help you. There's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with them. But sometimes if something doesn't work out with one person, you can always try taking help from someone else. But just remember, your emotional health and your physical health is very much interconnected. So there is always, most of the time, 90%, I would say, or maybe 99%, behind your physical disease, there is some emotional reason which needs to be healed. I know many cases where people have healed their cancer, brain tumors by just healing their emotional issues. All right, any questions? Okay. Then let me have a sip of water.
Hello, ma'am. Please, I have a question.
Good. Yes, tell me.
I wanted to ask, why is so much emphasis laid only on women emotional abuse? Because I know some men who are emotionally abused by women as well, but
Yes.
they seem to be neglected.
No, you're very yeah. Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, they seem to be neglected, and individuals responsible for such cases, they pay no attention to men in general. Little or no attention at all is paid to men who are emotionally or physically abused.
Yes, I very much agree with you, Dee. That's why when I started and I said it's not a gender bias, that this is only happening with women, especially when I talk about childhood. So there are many boys, male, those who have suffered emotional abuse from their mothers. And sometimes they have experienced emotional abuse from their siblings. So it is equally important for male and female both. And it could be a male is suffering from emotional abuse from his female boss. So I very much agree with you that there's emotional abuse is not specifically with women, but this is overall with men and female both. But maybe in general, we have seen more this thing happening with female, especially in their marital relationships. This is from my experience. What I've seen is like especially in the marital relationships. But when it comes, if this verbal abuse is coming from, let's say, in a family from parents, then it's equally for a girl and for a boy both. Because if there is a family and there is a baby girl, there is a baby boy, all of them, they're suffering from the same trauma from their parents. So you're very right. It's like, it's not for the females only, but maybe in some cases, especially for the marital relationships, this is more with females. But yeah, but well, if it's coming from parents, it's coming from friends, it could be from, it's as important for male as well, and they are also suffering from it. So I agree with it. Okay, any comment here? Okay. I'll just read it. How to overcome emotional abuse in marriage? What if the couple is doing it unintentionally? I have anxiety issues. I overthink everything. How can I overcome it? Okay, I will come to these questions. Let me just a little bit move forward, and then I will explain this one. I'll just note it down. Okay. Now, just now, someone asked why it's happening in, what's the question? It's happening in a married couple? Okay, great. There's a lot of questions are coming in. Okay. Abuse in marriage. What if the couple is doing it unintentionally? Okay, remember something when we say in couple, it's happening unintentionally. Abuser is not doing unintentionally. They know what they're doing it to an extent. Yes, okay, there could be different situations. Sometimes what happens as a child, if I have seen my father or my mother abusing each other, so as a child, I have perceived that this is how a father will behave or a mother will behave. I will give you an example of one of my cases. There, the father was abusive, and he was like he never abused his kids, but he used to abuse his wife. What happened when their son was growing up, the son started abusing his mother. So when I asked that kid, there was like, we were in that case, and I asked that kid, why are you abusing your mother? He said, there's nothing wrong with it. I said, how did you know that? And that kid was like 5, 6 years old. He said, because this is how my father treated my mother, and this is how my uncle treated my mother. So I think it's perfectly fine to abuse my mother. So sometimes when you say unintentionally, so unintentionally is happening when this is what, as a child, I have learned that this is how I'm going to treat my wife. Because that kid, when he's growing up, he is going to treat his wife also in a similar way, because he, in his perception, this is right to treat his wife like this. So that can be unintentionally. But like you have raised a question here, that there is abuse happening. It means you have some kind of awareness that this is an abuse. Maybe both partners are not understanding that this is an abuse, but one is understanding. That's why even you have raised this question. Because even if your partner doesn't understand it, why he's behaving in a certain way, I'm just assuming here, but you are under that awareness. So you are the recipient of that abuse. So but you know that this is an abuse. So who is going to stop it? You. And I'll come to that point. That how can we come out of this emotional abuse? Because till now we have discussed that all these things we keep experiencing in our life in some way or the other. So even if we say in couple this abuse is happening unintentional, maybe one person is unintentional, but another person is having some kind of a experience, and that person is a person who is experiencing it, who is receiving it. And no one else can stop that. Only the recipient can stop it. And we will come to that point. And it's a very important question, which I also like. think or ask people, why did you stay in an abusive relationship? So first of all, if we talk about even how I will know that I'm in an abusive relationship, so these are just very general signs that you will feel frustrated, depressed, anxious, and the major thing you will feel that you are not good enough, you are worthless, you are anxious, and you always feel that no one understands you. So understand these are very common signs of emotional abuse, because when we say it's unintentionally something is happening, so maybe we are not recognizing what is happening to us. So this is a reason we are talking about this one. If you don't know what is happening, then please understand that if you are experiencing these certain patterns of behavior from your partner, from anyone in your life, then you are emotionally abused, or maybe you are abuser. You never know. We sometimes we are doing this to others, and we don't even realize what we are doing. So what happened? That why don't people come out of emotional abusive relationship? From my understanding, it's very easy to judge people and look at them and will say, you know what? I don't know how he or she is living in such a household where parents are so abusive, or maybe the partner is so abusive. We don't know how they're living it, and if they are our friends or we know someone, we just insist them. Why don't you simply quit? Why the hell you are suffering from this? Just leave it, quit. But we find them, it's very hard for them to come out of that kind of a relationship. And why is that so? Why? Why people keep suffering in silence? Why they just simply don't quit it? Because it's not that easy. It depends on different situations. Maybe if I have an abusive friend and someone make me realize, if I'm not realizing that that person is abusing me, some other friend make me realize that this your friend is abusive, just quit it. Maybe it's easy to quit a friend. Maybe it's easy to quit a work colleague or someone like outside of your family. It's easy to quit. But if it's your parents or if it's your partner, then you have certain constraints which you find is a constraint, and you don't come out of it. You don't know even what to do with that. So first of all, what is important here is to understand or have that awareness. First, you need to have an awareness that this is an emotional abuse. Sometimes we don't know even it's an emotional abuse. We are just going with the flow, and we are under that, because sometimes we manipulate our mind to extent where we think whatever is happening, this is the way it happens, and it is right, it is correct. And it hit my worthiness so much that I feel whatever is happening to me is right because I deserve that. This is what this treatment, I deserve it. So the first step is like people don't know that this is an emotional abuse and this is taking a toll on their emotional health. So there is a lack of awareness, and they think this is how the households are run. So it's perfectly fine. Like I gave you an example of a child who has experienced this with parents. So when their child will get married, male or female, they will have this old perception from their parents that this is how the household I have to run. If I'm a wife, I have to behave in a certain way because my mother used to behave like this. If I'm a husband, so I have to behave in that way because my father used to behave like this. And it's a very unconscious pattern that like attracts like. We attract the similar people in our life. Those who will validate our beliefs. If I believe that I'm unworthy, most of the time I will attract a partner or friend in my life, those who will make me feel that I'm unworthy. So the first step is that we don't know what we are doing, so awareness is the key. If I'm experiencing a hurt or pain in my life, so before that I blame someone else or blame myself, understand what's happening, why I'm feeling in a certain way. Because if there's a constantly accusation or harassment, it will definitely affect my self-confidence. I will start believing this is a truth. And my whole perception of reality will change, because now I'm seeing myself from their lens, from their eyes. I don't know my self-worthiness. The first step is to have that awareness. Where is this pain coming from? Even if I'm having anxiety, what is creating that anxiety? Something what we don't do in our life is like we don't spare time for ourselves. We never sit in silence and confront our own self and confront our feelings. Even if I'm feeling stress, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling some kind of a pain, I will keep ignoring it. I'll keep myself busy. This is what you call a binge watching, like Netflix, or maybe you are keep yourself busy on social media, and you're avoiding your own self. So how the awareness will come? Awareness will, it's not difficult, by the way, it's very easy. It's that mind complicated is that I don't know what put me in so much anxiety. I don't know why I'm so stressed. No, you know, but the only thing is that you're not allowing yourself to sit in a silence. Give yourself some moment, keep aside your phone, forget about the TV, forget about anyone else. Just give yourself maybe 20 minutes in a day in a silence and question yourself, what is that in this pain in your life? Whether it's a stress, it's anxiety, and what you need to do about it. Because if you are not going to spend your life intentionally or consciously, nothing will change. Nothing will change. It will go on. Things happen, like you have good or bad people, good and bad days, everything happens. But if you will not take an initiative to change your life, it will go on and it will end in its due time. Nothing will change. And you will keep thinking that you're a victim, but you are not a victim. God has given you such a powerful brain and a mind to change your life. It's just your thinking, your perceptions, and your initiative to change your life. And the first thing, self-awareness. Understand yourself. So many people, they don't come out of an abusive relationship. Maybe there's a financial constraint. I was reading one research. There was a research on women divorces, I think it's long back. And they did some kind of a research, I think in America, Europe, and different countries that about the marital relationships. And they figured it out that 50% of women, they're not happy with their marriages, but they can't come out of it because they are financially dependent. And they said, if we are today financially independent, we will leave this relationship. So there is a various reason. It's very easy to judge other people why they are accepting this abuse. So I'm not here supporting the fact that fine, they have financial constraint, so let them be in emotional abuse. No, it's their call, because it's a choice you make. The abuser is also making a choice to treat you in a certain way, and it's your choice if you want to come out of it or not. So yeah, there could be financial constraint, there could be some fear of their, I know there's some cases like the women, they are constantly into an abusive relationship, but they don't want to come out of it because they're very scared they will be alone. And they don't, and sometimes they say, oh, we want, okay, I hear this a lot. We can't quit this relationship because our kids will lose their father, and we don't want them to be to grow up without their father. So my question to them, I always ask them, I said, fine, in that case, in what kind of environment you are raising your kids then? They're having a father, or maybe in some cases it's a mother. You're raising your kids in an environment where it's a constant abuse, whether that's physical violence, there is emotional violence. What they are learning, what they are like, and what kind of human beings they will become when they will grow up, and they will also get into their practical life, and they also get married, what they have learned out of their parents' relationship. So it's always a choice. No matter what, whether you call it because of kids, or you have a fear of being alone, or you have a financial constraint, irrespective of the fact, you always have a choice. If you take a decision to do something in your life, you will always find a way. So these are all the excuses you give yourself because you don't want to come out of it. Okay? So there could be many number of reasons where people have social constraint in a way, like they don't want to be, they don't want to be perceived as a bad person in the society. So that's why they don't want to come out of that relationship as well. And they want to continue with that because they want to have this social tag of being a good man or good woman. Because sometimes we are so concerned about the people outside and we are not concerned about our own self. So there could be a number of reasons that people, they continue being in abusive relationship, but again, it's their choice and there's always a way out to come out of it if you really decide to do that. Any questions? This the same thing what we're discussing now. It's very important that how you treat yourself. Sometimes we are abusing our own selves. So like I said, like attract likes. If you think a very little of yourself or you think you're unworthy, most of the time you will pick such partners or friends, those who will reflect the same image back to you, those who will validate your belief that you are not good enough. It's very important when I say that you need some time with yourself, maybe 20 minutes a day for a self-reflection where you think and you reflect that what is your self-talk. Forget about how your parents, your partner, your friend, your colleagues, your co-workers, how they are talking to you. Forget about that for a moment. Just think about yourself, how you talk to yourself. Because our mind is constantly chattering. So during my day, even if I'm working, if I'm doing anything, how I am talking to myself. You must have observed many times, you must have said, oh, I'm so stupid. How can I do this? I'm crazy. I don't know how to do this. I'm so stupid. I'm dumb. I'm a loser. That person is better than me. Look at that person. Have you ever observed yourself mind chattering? So remember, if you will not give yourself respect, if you are not kind and compassionate to yourself, don't expect this thing from others because you are creating the same energy outside of you. And you will keep attracting the same people in your life, those who will make you feel in that way what you believe about yourself. If you think that you're stupid, you're not good enough, you will keep experiencing this thing from other people around you. So the first and foremost thing, because the change starts with you, not with your environment, not with the people around you. Change starts with you. So first of all, what you talk to yourself is very important. Use better words for yourself. Use better phrases for yourself. Have your self-perception to be improved. When you look yourself, today I want you to do one very small exercise and be very honest with yourself. Just go and stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes, whatever the first thought comes in your mind about yourself. First thought, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what is that first thought which comes to your mind about yourself? Just note that and see what it comes up. Because if you look at yourself and you say, oh God, I'm a loser. I haven't done anything in my life, or anything, maybe it's a positive thing, not I'm saying necessarily it's a negative thing, but what comes up? Just see and observe what are your perceptions about yourself. First, you have to change your self-image here in your mind. Yes, I'm worthy, and you can always tell yourself, I'm worthy, I deserve this. I deserve love and support. I deserve respect. I deserve abundance in my life. I deserve money in my life. So stop telling yourself negative words. Oh, this always happened to me. I'm never good enough. I don't deserve love. I don't deserve this support because I'm not good enough. You know, everything goes back to the I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Because especially if you have experienced a lot of emotional abuse in your life, the major hit in your life, it would hit your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-image. So please work on your self-image. First, you should be respecting yourself. First, you should be loving and compassionate with yourself, and then you can expect this from others. Okay? Are there any comments here? What are the some of the signs that you could be dealing with an adult with some emotional abuse background? These are the signs that Monaza, sorry if I'm pronouncing it right. So the signs, what we were discussing before, the types of emotional abuse we were discussing before. So these are all the general signs which I was telling you. Remember, the whole intention of abuser is that they want to control you through emotions, through words. They will use emotions to control you. So the types of the emotional abuse we were talking about, so basically those are the signs. Maybe it's a gaslighting, maybe it's like they're so possessive about you, they want to isolate you, or maybe they feel, they make you feel very little in front of others. They humiliate you in front of others. There are so many patterns of such behaviors that is an abuse, because most of the time, I know one of the case I was handling there was like, and it was basically two males, and they were real brothers. And one of the brother is like always like humiliating his younger brother in front of everyone, always. And he will always use a very humiliating comments for his brother. And that was an emotional, and the younger brother used to feel very hurt, and he was in so much pain that why he's getting such treatment from his brother. And this was basically a jealousy. When we say possessiveness and jealousy, this is also kind of an emotional abuse. When people humiliate you in front of others, they don't respect you. So these are also signs of emotional abuse. They always make you feel, and in this particular case of two brothers, they basically, the elder one always make his younger brother feel that he is nothing, is not good enough. And what happened when he was getting this treatment from his brother, which he was not even realizing that this is what his brother is doing to him, he became a follower. He used to do only what his elder brother used to tell him. Do this, do that, quit this business, do this business, use your money like this. And he was like working like a robot. And he even didn't realize that's a sort of an emotional abuse. Because that his brother was jealous, his brother was humiliating him in front of everyone, and he made him believe that he is nothing without him. So these are all the patterns where it's affecting your self-confidence, low self-esteem, and people are judging your thinking, your decisions. Then you have to step back and think, is that person, whatever this person is telling me, is that really true? Is that my truth? Maybe that person is manipulating me. This is not correct, and I need to trust my judgment. All right, there is how to deal with parents in this case. Okay, the thing is that, Sidra, if you were very young, obviously as a child, you don't know that this is happening to you. But when you grow up and this abuse continues, then you are the one who has to set some boundaries somewhere. You have to stop them. And we'll come to that boundaries part as well. So somewhere you have to set that boundary with parents, that you don't allow them to abuse you. And there could be like different ways you can do it. I understand that maybe you don't have much control over your parents. And sometimes kids, when they're grown up, they choose to live separately, or they choose to maybe move to another city because they know they can't control their parents, they can't stop them. But till the time you are in that household, yes, you have to protect yourself. First of all, you need to understand that they are abusing you. And there are other ways you can take some help from externally, maybe someone from your family you can trust, you can share with them, and you can tell them what you are going through and find a ways where you can protect yourself. So, and especially when the kids, those who have already experienced such trauma in their lives, so they definitely need some help from some therapist at some point of in their life to heal that trauma. So there is always a way to get out of it. Maybe as a child or children, it's very difficult for them because by the time they realize that their parents are abusive, the damage is already done on their personality. So they, at some point, they do go for some kind of a therapy or help, or maybe you need to look for some kind of group of people, maybe from your family, friends, with trusted people with whom you can share your problem and they can find some way out for you. So yes, I know it's difficult to live in such environment and parents, you don't have much control. Okay, going forward. Now, very important here is like we have understand, find these are the behaviors or the patterns of an abuser. And this is how it's affecting our mental health, our physical health. Now, the question is that we were talking about why do we stay in abusive relationship? I know there must be some constraint, but we need to work on exit strategy if we really want to protect our mental health. So what could be our exit strategy? What to do? First and foremost thing, like I said, very importantly, we need to understand or acknowledge that we are in an abusive relationship, whether it's with parents, whether it's with our partner or friends or anyone. The first thing is like acknowledgement. First thing we need to understand that we are in an abusive relationship. And how can I protect myself? Like I said, make yourself purity. Now, if I know at the moment, maybe it's my parents are abusive or maybe my partner is abusive, I can quit at the moment for whatsoever reason. But now I realize that yes, I am a victim or recipient of emotional abuse, or I'm emotionally drowned with this person. So what I need to do first thing is like, first I have to make myself as a purity. And how I'm going to do that? Mostly people, when they have suffered badly with this abuse, whether it's a physical or emotional abuse, they just ignore themselves. They don't take care of their mental health, physical health. They're, like we said, they have eating disorders. How are you going to make yourself as purity? Stop pleasing them. Stop validating them. And first you think that how I'm going to take care of myself. Like I said, maybe 20 minutes a day, sit with yourself, do some self-reflection, look at what food you are eating. Maybe your health is suffering. You need to have a better food. Maybe you need 20 minutes every day to go out and exercise. You need to take care of yourself because most of the time what happens, we are not connected to our own selves. We feel so disconnected with ourselves and we're just living like a robot life. We're just doing a daily task and suffering from this emotional trauma. And we just keep going on with that. Maybe at night we can't sleep, we have insomnia, or we can't eat properly. So first thing is like, first you have awareness, fine. Whatever is happening to me is not because of me. So stop blaming yourself because such abusers make you believe that you are the one because of your situation, because of such situation, whatever is happening to you is because of you. Have this awareness that this is happening to me, this pain, this anxiety I'm getting because of that person's behavior. And I won't let that person treat me like this. So I'm going to, from today onwards, I'm going to take care of myself. And how I'm going to take care of myself? Maybe it's a food, have a better food, set some timings for yourself. It's like I'm prioritizing myself. I want to protect my mental health. I want to protect my physical health. I will make sure that I will have a healthy food. I will make sure that I'll go out for some walk. I will make sure that I will do some kind of a meditation or some journaling or anything. But I will not ignore myself now. I will take care of myself. This is what you call for self-compassion. I will be more kind to myself. I will use a better word for myself. Even if someone is telling me I'm not good enough, I don't care. I am good enough. I love myself. Be more kind and compassionate to yourself. So that's the first thing you will start working on your exit strategy out of this abuse relationship, or even if you stay there, you want to live a better life. And it will start with you. Then what we are talking about is establishing boundaries. Now, how can we establish a boundary? Let me give an example. For example, okay, my partner is like a kind of a person who gets angry very fast and who yells at me, humiliates me in front of others. And there are many cases we have seen who yells at me, who humiliates. I'm going to create a boundary with him. Now, currently, I'm not quitting this relationship, but step by step, I will do everything. I will tell my partner, listen, if next time you will yell at me or you will humiliate me, I'm going to leave this room or leave this place. I'm not going to be with you in this. So if you don't, you ever try this again with me. So very important thing is here, don't say or commit anything which you will not do it. For example, I tell my partner, if you will ever yell at me again, I'm going to leave this home. I will never come back. And you have no intentions to do that. So what will happen when again the same situation will happen? You will not leave the home because you have no intentions to live in your home. And you, whatever you said or whatever boundary you try to set, it has no effect. It has no value because now your partners know she just talk. She will not leave, and I know she will not do anything about it. This is just one example. So when you want to set a boundary, this is my line. You do not disrespect me. You do not yell at me. I need respect from you if you really want me to continue this relationship. If you will do this, I will do that. But whatever you're saying that, you need to do that. And this is how you make another person realize that this is my boundary and you can't cross it. When we don't set boundaries in our relationships, so this is what happened. Other people, the abuser will never care about you. So to start with, you have to set boundaries. I need respect. I need love. And before love, I need a respect. If you will do this, I will take this action. But don't commit any such thing which you will not do it, because then it is not going to have any effect. So you are the one who is going to set the boundary. So remember, very important thing is that the recipient or the victim of abuser is the only one who can come out of it. And stop taking blame on you. Just because of me, I know this is happening. Because it happens when it's the emotional abuse, people, they manipulate your perceptions in your mind in a way that you are the one who is responsible. You start thinking just because of me, this is happening. You take the whole blame on you because you think, oh, I'm not good enough. Maybe that's why that person is treating me like this. Maybe as a child, if you're thinking, my father or my mother, they are shouting and yelling at me because I'm not scoring good marks in school, so that's why I deserve this treatment. No, you don't deserve this treatment. If the abuser is judging you by any means, you are the one who's going to protect yourself. So first thing, you need to be aware of that you are being abused. And how you will do that? If you are facing any kind of the behaviors, what we talk about, and you're feeling any kind of stress and anxiety or pain because of that, So self-reflection, sit with that, where it is coming from, who is responsible for that. Is that really true that I am the person who's responsible for that and I'm getting this blame? No. If that is the case, step back. Start taking care of yourself. Set your boundaries. Tell people that you will not cross these boundaries. Communicate it. Don't blame yourself. And sometimes what we do is like we think we can fix other person. Remember, we can't change anyone. We can change ourselves. Even in this webinar, if I'm sharing anything, if I'm telling you anything, I can't change you unless you are not ready to change. No matter what I tell you, no matter how much information you gain through books or webinars or through YouTube or any platform, if you are not ready to change, then no one can change you. No one. Same as in any kind of a relationship. I can't change others. So remember that. I can give some good suggestions to other people. I can give some good advice to other people from my understanding and perception. But if I say I can control that person by I will change their behavior, no. Because at the age of 7 and 8 years old, you develop your habits, you develop your perceptions. And after that, once as a child, you have built your own belief systems and perceptions and habits. After that, what changes is your own call. It's very difficult to bring a change in case after the age of 7 or 8, because they have already built a certain perceptions and beliefs and habits. So in abusing relationship, most of the time what we do is we think, maybe I can fix this person. Let me live in this relationship some more time. I will change this person. I will please them more. I will follow them. I'm comply with them, whatever they're telling me. And what will happen? Eventually this person will understand and this person will change. Maybe, maybe not. But in that quest, don't ruin your life and your emotional health. It's very important to protect yourself. You can't fix them, but you can fix yourself. You can't fix their behavior, but you can fix your response to it. If any person is behaving in whatever way to me, my response is the only one which is going to make a difference. Either I will take it or I will reject it. Either I let them cross my boundaries and treat me whichever they want to, or I'm the one who's going to fix my response and I'm going to put a boundary for me. Or otherwise I will quit that relationship because I don't need anything where I'm not respected. So my self-respect is more important. If I will not respect myself, no one else is going to respect me. And sometimes we need to have that support network. I'm not saying that you can share your life, your problems, your issues, or your emotions with everyone, but there are always some trusted people around you. Maybe they are friends, there's someone from your siblings, there's someone from your co-workers to whom you can trust, and you have to take their support. Don't suffer in silence. Sometimes we think I will handle everything on my own. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But if you think you can, take help. And there is no harm in taking help from your community or from your trusted friends, or build a network someone can support you to come out of it. So you always need to have some exit strategy to come out of that abuse, to protect yourself, because if you're not going to protect yourself, no one else is going to do that. 3 things which you shouldn't be doing if you are in any kind of abusive relationship, or and that is avoid engaging. What do I mean by that? Because I said before, those who are the abuser, they will intentionally create some kind of chaos, some kind of a fight, some kind of arguments with you. Don't get engaged with them. What happened? Because they will put some kind of a blame on you, or they will try to belittle you. So what will happen? If you will get into an argument with them, you will keep justifying yourself, you keep giving explanations to them. You'll be explaining yourself, and you will try to tell them something which will satisfy their ego or which will please them. And then this cycle, this loop will never get over. So if you know that person is emotionally abusing you, don't engage with them. Don't argue with them. Walk out if you can, but don't argue with them. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to give explanation, because no matter what you will tell them, it will never satisfy their ego. And they will keep doing that thing with you again and again, and you don't have to do that. So if you really want to exit, even if it's not, you don't want to exit a relationship, but you really want to set your boundaries, don't get into arguments and fight with such people. Ignore them, walk out, do whatever you want, but don't get engaged with them, because then again you will be emotionally worn out with them, because they will never let you win the argument. Sometimes we have seen, we try to justify the abuser's action. We start like, if it's my father is abusive, I will try to just, oh, maybe he was overstressed and he was like that, and we try to protect in front of father, my husband, or my wife, or like whoever is abusing me. We're just trying to justify their actions. So understand their actions are not justifiable by any means. Because if their actions are hurting you, giving you pain, stress, and anxiety, you can't justify them. So don't try to cover them up. And don't try to convince even yourself, because of this or because of that, they are doing this like this. So it's okay if they're treating me like this, because maybe they are very stressed, they have a lot of pressure. No, they have stress, they have frustration, they have pressure, whatever. Maybe their parents were like this, but no one has right to treat me in a way where I don't feel respected or loved. And again, the same thing, like you can only change yourself, you can't change others. So sometimes we start taking actions, we start ignoring our own needs. We don't communicate our needs because they invalidate us, and they tell us your need is not real. And we start appeasing our abusers. We started doing that thing which will make them happy. And in that quest, we forget our own needs, our own wants. So if someone is emotionally abusing you, don't try to change them, but change yourself, change your response. And don't try to please them, because no matter what you do, you will never fulfill their requirements or their demands from you, because such people are very demanding, because it's like my way or the highway. You do it in my way, otherwise you can go. So don't get into that. So these are the few things which I wanted to share today. And this quote, I really like it, that emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. You can heal broken bones, you can't heal a broken mind. I love the quote. And this is something we really need to understand, how we're going to protect our mental health. I'll just quickly read some comments are coming. Let me go back. Okay. All right. Shaida, people do not know that they are abused. Mostly time they think that they are too sensitive. Is that true? That sensitive people face too much emotional abuse? It can be, Shaida, because the thing is that most of the time people keep telling you that you're too emotional. But the thing is that let's not look ourselves from their lens. If we keep even hearing this, that I'm too emotional, then let me ask myself, if I'm too emotional, what is really making me so emotional? What is behind that? Because if usually we pass this comment on someone who is like emotionally drowned person, who don't know even how to handle their emotions, and we call that person, come on, you're too emotional, you're getting too sentimental about this thing. But what is that person is actually feeling? Because we are invalidating that person's feeling by just telling them that you're too sensitive, you're too emotional. But we don't know what that person exactly is going through. And if you're the one who is feeling that, then you must be knowing first, like, what exactly is upsetting me. There's nothing wrong with being too emotional, too sensitive. It's good to be sensitive because then you take care of other people's feelings as well. So you're not selfish person. But at the same time, if something is hurting you, go with the self-reflection and see what is really upsetting you. Why are safe spaces not always created for men as well? Though there will exist 1 by 10 cases, but I think they too need to be protected. Yes, Devi, I very well agree with you. Even in marital relationship, we have seen there are females also are the abuser, and male are the recipients. And like I said, especially in childhood, actually the way male are grown up in our society, most of the time we don't allow them to express their emotions because it's very natural. I don't know on your part of the world, but in our part of the world, it's like, and I think it's generic, and it's not even differentiated among the countries. It's like, if a boy cries, we say, "Why are you crying? You're a boy. Be strong. You don't have to cry." If girl is crying, it's okay. Let her cry. She's a girl. She's emotional. She's crying. And we always, it's like teaching or treating our male kids, boys, like we don't allow them to express their emotions. They also feel certain things in a certain way, but we tell them you don't have to behave in a certain way, like you can't cry. You can't be very emotional. If any boy is getting emotional, we tell them, oh, like a girl, you're getting so sentimental. So it's like, this is how we are like, what you call treating them or just teaching them that they don't know how to even express their deep emotions. Because we always put them in a shell of a manly figure that as a male, you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to be too sentimental, you're not supposed to be too attached. So yes, I very well agree with you, but the male also need help in the same way if they have, especially as a kids, if they have experienced any kind of emotional abuse from their parents. So the way the girl has experienced, boy has also experienced that trauma. So I believe that whenever the help is needed, we should be very open to take help. Okay, Virda, seeing this slide make me feel like I did the right thing years ago. No more guilt for standing for myself. Well done, Virda. This is what I'm saying. You are the only one who is going to decide for yourself and for your life. So it's not that there is no way out. There's always a choice. The abuser has also a choice to behave in a certain way, and the recipient has always a choice to make a different decisions or choices in their life. Yes, this is all what I'm going through. Cheers to you. We're happy to see you all healed with no regrets. Lovely. Yes, I know that all of us at some point in our life, we do experience some kind of emotional abuse. And because I always suggest and encourage everyone to please, whenever you feel that there is something in your life emotionally which is affecting your mental health, don't feel shy to take help. Take help from a therapist or a coach, or maybe from your trusted friend, but don't suffer in silence. That's what I strongly believe. And even in this webinar, this whole group, we are here to support each other, to help each other. So I'm here to help you girls. If any one of you want to reach me out, talk to me, you're more than welcome. You can have my email ID, you can contact me, you can reach me out, and we can always talk about it. And we can always heal what is gone and move on in our life. So that's it from my end. Any more questions or feedback, or you want to discuss something? I will just type my email ID. Anyone? This is my email ID. If any one of you want to reach me out, you can email me. You will find me on social media, BrainTox Coaching. Okay, so no questions? Or any one of you would like to share of any of your experiences? Maybe that will
Ma'am,
help.
may I ask? I think comparison is also kind of abuse. When we compare students with other students, it's also abuse, because we compare the students. We can say that he is well, he is doing well. It's also kind of abuse, ma'am.
Yes, definitely, I agree with you, because if this comparison is coming from mostly students, they feel this comparison from their parents or from their teachers. When even I have experienced that it didn't come from my parents, but it come from my some of my family members, you can say my uncles, and they used to compare me a lot with my own best friend who was who was a topper in her school, and I used to get a constant comparison from them, and they say, oh, look at her, how she's scoring, and I know that really shatters my confidence. So yes, it can be in many forms, and whatever which makes you feel low, this is a kind of emotional abuse which will shatter your confidence. Yes, among the students, we do this a lot. Even teachers do a lot. And parents in so much in tendency when they compare their kids with other kids and tell them, look at your neighbors, look at your uncle's son or daughter, and look at them, how they're scoring and what are you doing? Because we judge our kids just in terms of their school scorings, and we don't understand. They might have some other talent. Maybe they are not scoring good in school, but they have something else they are good at. So that's the whole perception they have. All right. So Maheen, are we done for today?
Thank you very much, Asma. It was a wonderful session, wonderful session. We had a very good audience as well, and they were waiting for this session. So thank you for your enlightenment towards this topic. And thank you for your time, Asma. We are really humbled to have you on board with us.
Thank you so much, Mine. I'm so thankful for all the participants. They have engaged here. I'm just reading this last comment from Khadija Rahman, where she is saying, why don't we invite men also in this one? Actually, yesterday I got this comment from one of a friend that, well, she has her own experiences, but she is saying, invite men in this one so they will understand what abuse is. So, yes, there are... Yes, so yeah, or we can always invite them, like this is Maheen's call, this is Women Ascension. So maybe Maheen, you need to have some men ascension as well.
Asma, today we had two men with us. We had Prince and we had Rigo. So they were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they're quiet today. They don't want to say anything. Okay. Lovely. Thank you. It's lovely audience, and thank you everyone for your participation, your feedback, your comments. I hope this session has helped you, and maybe we can, because this is a very wide topic, so considering the time constraints of this, I just wanted to talk about some basic understanding of this one. Maybe we can have some more sessions on this topic. We can talk more about it, and we can invite more men in this session.
Thank you, Asma. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. See you all. Have a lovely weekend. Weekend is over. Enjoy your week ahead.